All right, hello everyone, and welcome to Small Business Website Design 101. If you're here, it may be because you are a small business owner, or perhaps it's because that you know someone that is a small business owner, B2B, B2C, it doesn't matter. Today, we're going to be going over the logistics of what it takes to first prepare your business for having a website. And then we're also going to do a really good deep dive into business website architecture, as well as the user interface design, coming up with a really nice, sexy, and beautiful website, as well as making sure all of the components are in place for success. So let's begin. The first thing that I'm going to start with is myself. My name is Nicole Rowley, and I am the CEO and founder of Luxurious Web Design. I've been in this business now for 10 years, and I work with individuals just like you all, B2C consumers and B2B other business owners, where it is that we're looking to render to them websites, branding, online marketing, you name it. It all coincides with what it is that we're going to be talking about today. So I'm really excited, and we're going to go ahead and begin first by going over what we're going to discuss. So first is understanding what it is that your business specializes in, the products and the services, looking at those processes, looking at the goals that we have set, making sure that we have the right strategies as well. And then from there, all of that is going to serve as an input into the website process. So again, looking at that architecture and that functionality, making sure that we have the right design. And then also as we go along, we're going to have some great key takeaways, as well as some exercises that you guys can participate in as well. So the first thing we talk about is technology. Technology itself does not define your business. Your business should be defining how you decide to leverage technology. So specifically, we're thinking about the capacities that are available in an online world. There are a lot of things. There are search engines, there are websites, there's social media. There should be some strategy tied behind how we're leveraging all of these differentiating tools and all of these resources. So first, it's establishing what goals should we essentially have and making sure we have those identified. It's going to the process of making sure they're measurable from a quantitative or a qualitative perspective, thinking of who is your targeted audience. So who is it that you're wanting to connect to? Where are these individuals, and how can we make it known who we are and what it is that we offer? Looking at having a marketing plan as well that will help us to connect to these individuals, but what should that marketing plan look like, and how can we leverage the logistics of a website and everything that we're doing to be able to ensure that the website is being optimized at its capacity. And then all of that, as it aligns, can work in tandem. The thing we're going to learn about today is that everything is very process oriented, and we can take this step by step. But the first step is knowing your business and knowing why you're doing this in the first place. So we have to start by looking at the criteria for success, our what, our how, and when as well. So you may already know your why. And your why is, okay, I know I have a service. I have a really great product. I'm selling clothing. I have services. I'm looking for people to book it. They just have to have this because it's proprietary. Maybe it's not proprietary in that it's something different that you can't find elsewhere in terms of the offering itself, but how you go about doing it may be proprietary. And thus, as we think about proprietary service offerings as well as products, our criteria for success should also be proprietary as well. So the first thing are our goals. That's our what. So quantitative and qualitative measurements of goal achievement. Establishing goals for ourselves is very important, especially as we think about a website. It could be getting sales. It could be customer acquisition. What are those numbers? What are those percentages? All of those are our goals. The second thing that we think about is the strategy. So how will we go about ensuring that our goals are met? So it's establishing a process for getting to that goal. The first thing that we may think of is, okay, wait a minute, what are the steps? So if we have a goal to, let's say, have a sale on our website, what are those steps to getting there? It could be creating a website first. It could be making sure we have a campaign second. It could be having the right resources that are accessible to us to help us getting to that point. All of those are your steps, and all of those are your strategies. And the last thing is when. When do all of these steps happen? It's up to you as to when this happens. It's establishing a timeline. It's putting together a schedule. And with that, it's having those deliverables, having those sub-deliverables, and making sure there are start and end dates Therefore, you're being set up for success within your strategies. It's one thing to list out the steps to say, I know what I have to do. That's your how, but your when that really drives a little bit of action and behavior behind how that is all going to come together. So now we kind of take a look at our activity. So anyone right now in the chat, if you are wanting to share this, you can. If not, you can go ahead and keep it to yourself. But the activity we're going to go through in 5 minutes, that's the time we're going to take, is defining your success online. So there are several steps that we're going to go through. Step one is, what is the goal for success online? This could be something small, such as getting a sale, or it could be something big, such as having a 75% lead conversion rate. So when someone fills out the form, let's say you have thousands of submissions, you'll find that 75% of those are the ones that are converting, and they're actually customers affiliated with your business. That could be a great goal. The second part is writing down how you will achieve that goal. So that's really going back into the strategy of how you're going to be able to achieve this goal. The third thing is writing the time duration for all of your steps. So setting up that schedule, and then make sure you're repeating this for as many goals as you can, but I'm anticipating that you should at least get through 1 or 2, maximum 3. So please take this time now to go through this exercise. And if you'd like, in the chat, please feel free to share what your goals are, what your steps are, and then what a potential schedule could look like as well. Okay, so welcome back. This is an example of a goal. So with this being said, yours may look similar or it may look a little different. It doesn't matter. But the most important thing is that you have a goal and you have something to take a look at. So what I have for mine is that we're having 15% lead conversion on my website at 2 months post-launch. Now, this is a very ambitious goal because it's only been a website that's live for 60 days, but I do have my strategy, which is my how for how we're going to get there. The first step is creating a website, including 2 lead capture forms. So let's say having a form where we're collecting information from a user on the home page. It could also be another form on the contact page. The second part of my strategy is launching a social media campaign for the duration of these 2 months as well. So we're going to be running some ads on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. And then the last part of my strategy is having 4 form completions per day. So about 120 completions per month, and right at around a 10% lead conversion. You could definitely say we're at about 12 people, around 15. We're at right around maybe 15 people or so. That's what we're looking at. And when is the really big part of this, because we're looking at the timeline. So for me, I'm saying for a website, 12/1/21 to 12/31, so right at about a month. Social media campaigns running for about 2 months, and then also form completions where we're tracking this is also within 2 months as well. So you can definitely see how we have a goal. You can see how we have our strategy, and we also have our schedule tied into that goal as well, which is extremely important as we're thinking about how we're going to achieve our goal within a particular timeline as well. So now we're going to jump right into website architecture. So we've gone over the goals, we've gone over the strategy, we've gone over having a timeline. Now we know, okay, this is what we're trying to achieve. Now, what are the tools and what are the best practices and the ways of getting there? So website architecture is comprised of 2 things: functionality coupled with really good design. You may hear in the online world front-end development and back-end development. You may also hear UI UX design, which is user interface design. And you may also hear the term functionality, but it's really honing in on these questions. So what information does a user need? How should your website look? What behaviors are you wanting a user to take on your website, such as purchasing a product, filling out a form, completing a sign-up process, or perhaps even a login process? All of these things are vital and crucial to really answering, because these are the resources and this is the information that you're going to need to make accessible to the users that are going to be on your website. So we'll first break it down into 2 steps: functionality and then the design. So the first thing that we think about with our functionality is that it should be user friendly. That should be the goal. Always with functionality is making sure that it is something that your users can use and thinking about the steps that they need to go through as it pertains to them getting to the information or getting to the product or getting to that page where it is that you're looking for them to complete a particular action or behavior. So the first thing is information. What information do you believe that a user will find of value on your website? So who you are is one, showcasing your team, letting them know about your purpose or your mission. Another area are your service offerings. You could also have reviews as well, contact information, policies. All of this is a good starting place. This information will inform the user about whatever it is that you're looking for them to be able to learn about you with. So with that being said, you can include anything that you're looking to share with them, but also you could take a look at other example websites too that are in the same industry to see what information that they're sharing with users. Now, the next thing are the actions. This is a big thing. So based on the actions that a user will have to take on your website, what functionality should we have? So are you looking for a user to purchase a product? If so, you need an online store. Are you looking for them to share information with you? That could mean filling out a form. Are you looking for them to book an appointment? You may want to have scheduling software. Are you looking for them to search for something such as through a database? You'll need to have the database and some type of querying functionality, which means that they can search perhaps using set criteria. And then there could be signups, logins. All of these things are action and behavior based. And we have to think about what tools and what resources should be available to the user to make these behaviors and actions happen. And then the last thing we think about, and sometimes it's quite overlooked, is administrative support. So what tools and what applications can we make available to streamline your operations? So a website can also help you with reporting. It can let you know users that are on your site, such as sales over time, visits to your website, form completion rates. All of that is accessible, as well as this is great for data collection as well. So if you're looking to capture data from a particular user, let's say outside of just a sale, you could be asking for their email address, let's say for newsletter signups. You might be asking them to go through the process of sharing their phone number. All of these things can help you with your business, whether it's an immediate need or perhaps in the future. So also think about when you're thinking of the functionality for your site, how it can also be beneficial for your internal staff, either at the current time or perhaps in the future. So we're actually going to do a little bit of homework. Now, you can do this homework now and you can share this in the chat, or you can save this for a later point in time. But the homework is to list out all of the functionality that you need on your website for your business. So really think about your business processes, think about your logistics, think about those goals again and those strategies, and think about all the functionality that you will need. Now, if you don't have a business, think of, let's say, a business model and list out all of the functionality that you would need to have to support it. So really thinking of, let's say, businesses that exist, could be financing and accounting, could be something where you have to book a service. Really think of those business models and think of all of the functionality that you will need to support that. If you'd like, go ahead, take this and put it in the chat, share it amongst yourselves as to what this functionality looks like, or again, you can save that for later. All right. So the next thing we're going to divulge into is good user interface design. This is the fun part. What is the website going to look like? And this is probably one of the most commonly asked questions, which is, how should my website look? It really is up to you, but these are some 3 really good tips of ensuring that your website not only looks good, but also it's giving your users more than likely what they're looking for. The first thing is branding. A good way of ensuring that your targeted audience that's on your site knows that it's your business and they also have an opportunity to know about your style is through branding. So really make sure you're taking the time to think about your proprietary brand and thinking about all of the brand components. So your logos, your colors, your fonts, all of these things are extremely important, but really make sure that you're putting together a plan for how you're going to bring that together. Not just having your logo, but thinking of how you can take all of these other affiliated components and integrating it on other pages, integrating it on other types of collateral on your site and making it a really good experience. Think of it as your home and how you would like to design your home. The second thing is balance. There are billions of styles that you can adopt on your website. Modern, bold, it could be something that's a little bit more of an earth tone, but the most important thing is that it's balanced. Everything is flowing together as it should, and nothing is really creating an experience where it kind of conflicts with your brand or something is a little bit off par. It doesn't look like it blends together. So really think of balance between colors and layouts that you're also using on your site. And then the last thing is emotion. This is something that we kind of overlook at times because we don't always think of emotion when we're thinking of design. We think of, I want a functional site and I want a site that looks good, but what emotion can you invoke? So can you give the feeling of relaxation? Can you give the feeling of eagerness? Can you give the feeling of must buy now? All of that can also be integrated in the design. So really think of how you're wanting a user to feel as they're going through your website and what actions they could potentially take because of the design that you picked and the way that they feel because of that design as well. So now we have another bit of homework. I know I'm giving you guys a lot, but hopefully this does not overwhelm you because this exercise is a really, really fun one. So the ask now is that you find examples of pages on websites that you love that you would like to have on your website. So it could be the layout, it could be the colors, it could be the actual placement of components. Think about a website or go to websites that mimic the designs that you enjoy or mimics a design that you enjoy, and talk about perhaps a homepage that you would like or an about page or a store that you would like. And if you don't have a business, definitely find websites that you love and jot down why you enjoy it. This is an opportunity to share websites with really, really good designs and to find them so you can reference them for your website either now or in the future. All right, so you can go ahead and share that in the chat, or of course you can save that for later. But now we're moving on to another area and a topic that is a favorite of mine, which is online marketing. So we have our goal set, we have our strategy, we have our timelines, we've taken that input, we've created a really great website that has all the functional components that we need, as well as a really good design. Now it's time to market the site and plan to change the plan as well. So the one thing to think of is that the website's live, but it's amongst billions of other websites. So there has to be a strategy for ensuring that your website can be found amongst search engines and social media. All of these can also be used in tandem plus other mediums to be able to help with the tasks at hand. But the most important thing is that you know how to navigate this spectrum. You have to have a strategy, and you also have to understand market behaviors, because market behaviors can also shift, which means that your strategy may have to shift over time as well. This is the area where if you haven't hired a specialist like my organization yet, you definitely do want to consider hiring one, because you want to make sure you're going about it in the most strategic way. Therefore, your website is serving you well. So the first thing is finding a way to be found amongst billions. There are three key ways of going about doing this. The first thing and the easiest way is indexing. So think of it like this. Search engines index the web and they find any and everything. Anything that's available on the internet usually can be found in search engines as long as it is accessible to the public. So when people are going into search engines like Google and they're putting in keywords and phrases, the whole idea is that their search criteria that they're typing in returns a match. So if someone's putting in a particular phrase or keyword, the goal is that amongst the results that return, your business is found. And the only way it could be found is if you're using the keywords and phrases that people are typing in, if you're using that on your website. So making sure you have the right keywords in your wording, and making sure that you also have the right keywords and phrases in the back end, things that can't be seen. All of this is extremely important, because all you're trying to do is make sure there is a match, making sure that you're using whatever it is that your targeted audience is searching for in your website. Because the way we write for a website is not the way we write an email. It's not the way we write a book. It's the way that we write that allows it to connect to the targeted audience. That's the most important. So make sure that you do market research and make sure you use those keywords and those phrases. The second thing is targeting, making sure not to go too broad too soon. Some people, if you have a business, let's say you have a seafood restaurant, I'm a very example-based person, you may think of just using the word seafood on your site. Well, when you type in seafood in search engines, you might get 14 million results, or I don't know, even many, many more. But if you were to use, let's say, San Diego, California seafood restaurant, you may only have 400,000 results or even fewer results. And the probability of ranking out of those returned results is a lot higher with that more specific phrase, as opposed to just using the broad term of seafood. So please make sure that you're not going too broad too soon, and you're really honing in on, yes, what their type, what the users are going to have to search for. Of course, they're looking through listings, but really make sure you're honing in on what it is that someone's going to type in the first place, and making sure that you have honed in on the specifics. That way you have a higher probability of showing up, and there's also still a match as well. And then the last thing is continual. Online marketing is constant. I've heard a lot of individuals say, as I've worked for them, the website's done, we have search engine optimization in place, we've made sure the indexing is great, but you always have to continually work with that online marketing. So you have to run online marketing campaigns on social media. You have to run those campaigns on Google. You have to identify the proprietary ways and strategies for ensuring that your business, of course, is not stagnant with growth. You want to scale the business, and the way you go about doing that is by having a marketing strategy, but by realizing that it may have to change over time due to A, market behaviors, but then also B, it just might be that what you were doing before has become a bit obsolete. So no position is permanent. So therefore you have to stay really on that online marketing piece. That way your website and your social media and all of your other mediums are serving you well, and you continually can be found amongst the billions and billions of results that exist. So I know we went over a lot of content today. Some of you might be sitting back in your seat saying this is a lot, but there is a really good way of thinking of it all together holistically. So in conclusion, the first thing that we do at the start is we set our goals. What are those goals for your business? What are you trying to achieve? And specifically, what are those goals for your website? The second thing are the strategies. So how will you achieve that goal? What are those processes? What are those sub goals? Listing out all of those steps is really important. And then third, it's the timelines for achieving those as well. And as a part of that, we think about how we achieve these timelines, of course, by setting begin and end dates on the goals, but we also should be putting them on the processes as a part of the strategies too. That is extremely important, that we get very granular with the start and end dates for our strategies. And then we have to focus on our website architecture. So taking all of that input from our goals and our strategies and plugging it in to where the website makes sense. So what functionality do we need? So what are our users looking to do? What information do they need? And then also thinking about the design components as well. How can we make it look great? What emotion can we invoke? And ultimately, how can we use this to make it look like our online home? So really honing in on branding. And then last but not least is being found amongst millions or perhaps billions. It's developing a proprietary strategy that works well for us, and realizing that the plan must change over time because market behaviors change as well. And one really good way of ensuring that you don't fall behind the learning curve on any of this in terms of functionality or design or online marketing is, again, by hiring an agency such as myself that specializes in it. It becomes very cumbersome at times when we try to do it ourselves, because you have to think technology is constantly evolving over time, and we want to ensure that we're only using and adopting the tools and the resources and going about things within alignment of best practices to ensure that your business is optimized and to ensure that your business is scaling in the right direction. So I'd like to say thank you for everyone coming into Small Business Website Design 101. This session was great and it was fantastic. I do encourage all of you to stay active in the chat. You can go back over those exercises and that homework. And definitely, if you guys have any questions for me, or if you're looking for any resources as well, please do not hesitate to reach out to me as well. I will be just as active in the chat after this session, as well as after the session, I'll share my email and contact information as well. Thanks again, everyone, and take care.